We begin a new section in Tanya. We begin chapter 18. 18 through 25 will take us on a new journey. Good starting point. What is that new journey? Whereas in chapters 9 through 17, we spoke about the power of the mind and that God creates every human being with the power of the mind, that it should have dominion over the heart. With the power of the mind, we can choose to do right from wrong. We can choose to do for God's sake rather than for our own self-centered purposes of self-fulfillment and the like. That's the power that the mind has. And as we spoke about in the last, again, chapters 9 through 17. Here that continues the Alter Rebbe, based on the verse in the title page of Tanya, which encompasses this verse, the entire 53 chapters, of which we're in chapter 18, explaining to us all these 53 chapters, this verse, for this thing, meaning this thing, Torah mitzvahs, relationship with God, is very close to us, in our mouth, in our heart to do. Now, in chapter 17, we went into great explanation. What does it mean in our heart to do? And enough of a heart that brings us to do, right? Not a palpable, it doesn't even have to be a palpable, powerful feeling in the heart to do. But that's based on an awareness in the mind. Ask that Alter Rebbe, our teacher. The verse says, Ki korav elecha davar mo'od. This thing is very close. Not just close to us. It's not just doable, but very doable. The Alter Rebbe questions, is that so? Well, it's based on an understanding and appreciation of God that one meditates and thinks about, ponders upon. Each one according to their capability, but it means you need to have a lot of material or enough material to meditate, to ponder upon your relationship with God. And relationship here doesn't mean what God is giving out to you today. Oh, He gave you this breath. He gave you, good health. He gave you, this person in your life and that person and so on. No, it's about appreciating God, knowing God, not for what He does to you merely. I mean, that's a very small element. God's much greater than that. Because if it would only be that, that would be very, it's like, I love you because you do so many good things for me. Well, you don't really love that person. You love the things they do for you. That's not real love. It's a child's love. So when we only meditate upon what God does for me, well, that's a child's love. But when we meditate upon the greatness of God for who He is, appreciating that, but that's a lot of teachings that you need to be engaged in and to have in your head that you could actually meditate upon that. Well, what if we lack the knowledge? And what if we lack the tools to be able to meditate? Right? So, but the verse says it's very near. So how's it very near? That I should have the awe of God that should keep me from, transgressing a prohibition of the Torah because of my awareness of God, and the love of God that I'm going to have that will be sufficient to give me a love of God. I will have a love of God that will bring me to study Torah continuously, which is, that mitzvah is equal to all the other mitzvahs. How's that going to happen? So here the Alter Rebbe introduces a new idea. It's called Ava Misuteres, a hidden love. The love that we're talking about till now is a revealed love in the sense that you got to think it, you got to meditate upon the greatness of Hashem in order to have at least an understanding heart, an intellectual love, right, that you create to whatever level and capability. But now we're going to explain what's called a hidden love, which that is an oxymoron. Love means revealed, right? But here, no, it's called a hidden love. And because of that, hidden love, it is Korev made, it's very close. So let's understand. What does that mean? That this hidden love that we have, what is that hidden love? That is an inheritance to us from our patriarchs. So we need to explain the following things. What's the origin of this love? Now where's it come from? Where does it come from in our soul, this kind of love? That's one thing. Second thing is, what's the character quality of this love? Love means that you strive, you yearn to connect, right? To bond. What kind of a striving does this love consist of? Right? And then we need to understand, what does it mean that it's an inheritance, this love, from the patriarchs? How do you understand an inheritance of love and all? Love is not an inheritance. If I love something, doesn't mean I'm going to inherit that to my children and they're going to love the same thing. Not at all. So why do we call it love? As an inheritance from our patriarchs. And the fourth question is, how does fear fit in? Excuse me. Right, love and fear go together, as we've explained many times. If you love your child very much, you will fear any harm that comes to them. You will fear to say something nasty because of the love, the bonding that you have. You want to create, you don't want that bond to be severed. So you are fearful of severing, saying the wrong thing that might sever the bond. Whether it's in the moment or longer than that, whatever it is, right? Okay, so let's explain. Let's explain first the idea of an inheritance. So it says about the patriarchs, that they were truly a chariot of God. What does a chariot mean? Chariot is ridden by its rider. A chariot has no will of its own. It is just moved in whatever direction by its rider. Likewise, the patriarchs, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they were a chariot to God. They had no will of their own. They were just ridden by God. God had the reins over them. They were very special. They were very unique. Because of that, they merited that the subsequent generations, their descendants, right there, which is the Jewish people, that forever would be the Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama of the 10 holy spheres of the 4 worlds of Bria, Tzin, and Atzilus, that they would bequeath to every Jew that comes thereafter this soul. So they're not bequeathing the love. They're bequeathing to us they're bequeathing which is, that itself is an oxymoron. You don't bequeath a love, so they're bequeathing a soul, and they're not bequeathing it. They have the merit that God gives the Jew the Jewish soul. Even to someone who's the most unworthiest and sinful Jew, they, because of the patriarchs and the matriarchs together actually, merited that their descendants, God will give them a unique Jewish soul. And again, it doesn't matter what that soul has done. It's not, the soul is not based on what you do. It's who you are. This is what defines the Jew. Right? Meaning a Jew that comes even from the lowest levels of Asiya, the lowest levels of the world of Asiya, comprises in it the Chachma of Asiya, and enclosed in that Chachma, that wisdom of Asiya, is from Yitzira Bria all the way to Chachma of Atzilus, is in the soul of this individual. And it's fused within them, head to foot. Which is powerful. And it infuses the individual soul, Jew, head to toe. Because the soul is not just in some component of their being, but it's the entire definition of who they are. As Chachma, the divine wisdom that is defining this soul, the quality or the source of this soul is encompassing us head to toe. That gives, therefore, the definition. Now, what's the nature of that soul? Of that love. So what we're saying is the love is embodied in the soul. That the soul is coming from Chachma. What does that mean exactly? We're going to see more about that. What exactly? Okay. It comes from Chachma. What's unique about that? And it's the defining mark of the Jewish soul. So in tomorrow's class we're going to get a much clearer understanding. This is just the foundation of this idea. Okay, any questions, any comments? Two question marks before asking a question. TRC tonight at 8 o'clock. We will have our Torah studies class at 6:30. All right. You don't want to miss Torah studies tonight. Michael's question. Oh, Andrew and Elliot have questions. I didn't see it. Now, does Tshuva redeem the Shekhinah from the exile created from eating from the tree of knowledge? Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Elliot, what is the real meaning of wickedness? Thank you, Elliot. Excellent question. So wickedness is when the animal soul is controlling us, because wickedness means not godly. Anything opposed to God, meaning that it's not about a connection to God, that's wicked. Because wicked and maybe we have to be careful how we use the words, because when we say it in English, that's wicked. Wicked means that I'm self-directed. I'm being, I'm leading my life by my animal soul. Well, the animal soul is self-directed, self-interest, and that by definition is called negative. Right, and that's natural to the human condition, that we do what's comfortable, we do what's good for us. That's called wicked. Right. Again, we got to be careful with the words that we use, because it doesn't sound, PC when you say it. Oh, wicked, because wicked sounds really wicked. No. So let's say bad, evil, negative. It's negative. That's called wicked. The same thing. It just, I guess makes it easier for the the mind and the heart to take. Okay, we're going to continue with this idea. Very important chapter. This one, next one, gives a real definition of what a Jew is and the uniqueness of the Jew. We'll have more about that come tomorrow. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zeching. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you Tanya. Stay tuned for Rambam. Come and join us. The laws of theft.